Welcome to Beautiful Mind. Today, we are exploring self-esteem, the foundation of confidence. I am so incredibly thrilled to have you here. In this explainer, we're going to explore something, well, profoundly important. It's essentially the invisible architecture of your mind. We're talking about the psychological bedrock of our daily lives, that silent force that dictates how we work, how we love, and how we navigate the entire world. We're talking about self-esteem. It's honestly one of the most powerful, yet widely misunderstood concepts in all of psychology. So if you've ever wondered what separates those who seize opportunities from those who kind of shrimp back into the shadows, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why do some people walk into a room with confidence while others constantly doubt themselves? I mean, think about it. You've definitely seen this play out. Two people, the exact same qualifications, the exact same background, same level of experience, and they face the exact same challenge. One just steps right up, completely unfazed by the possibility of failure, but the other, they're paralyzed by self-doubt, deeply affected by even the most minor setbacks. It's not about raw talent. It's not about sheer luck. It really all comes down to the foundation of how they view themselves deep down. Because self-esteem is, at its absolute core, your inner voice. It's that constant narrator inside your head answering those really heavy everyday questions. Am I good enough? Do I actually deserve happiness? Can I realistically handle this massive challenge right in front of me? For some of us, that inner voice is like a supportive coach, right? Cheering us on. But for others battling low self-esteem, it's a harsh, unrelenting critic. And it's exhausting, isn't it? Just fighting that battle in your own mind every single day, constantly trying to prove to yourself that you're worthy of the space you take up. To truly grasp this, we have to look at how positive psychology defines it. Self-esteem is essentially an individual's overall evaluation of their self-worth, their personal value, and their belief in their own capabilities. Now, what's really interesting about this is what isn't explicitly stated. Healthy self-esteem is absolutely not arrogance. It's not walking around thinking you're flawless or invincible or somehow superior to everyone else. Rather, it's a grounded, deeply realistic appreciation of your strengths and your weaknesses, while maintaining a baseline sense that you matter. You have self-respect, you accept your flaws, and you feel worthy of love. Let's put ourselves in someone else's shoes for a second to really see the difference in action. Just imagine that awful, stomach-dropping moment of making a very public mistake during a massive team presentation. You skip a crucial slide, or you completely flub the main numbers. An employee with healthy self-esteem, sure, they feel the sting, we all do, but they accept the imperfection. They apologize, they learn from the failure, and they move on, knowing their inherent worth isn't tied to a single slide deck. But an employee with low self-esteem, they're crushed. They fear the criticism, they obsessively focus on their weakness, and they might even avoid taking the lead on future projects because they're terrified of being exposed. It literally dictates their entire reality. So, where does this inner voice actually come from? Well, the foundation is usually poured very, very early on. Self-esteem begins developing during childhood. Think about a little kid who accidentally knocks over a full glass of milk. If the parent reacts with encouragement, maybe helping them clean it up, showing unconditional acceptance, that child learns, okay, I make mistakes, but I'm still safe and I'm still loved. Those early school experiences, early successes, failures, and how our peers treat us, they plant the very first seeds of our self-worth. Think back for a moment. What kind of seeds were planted in your early years? Because if those early environments lack support, the roots of low self-esteem begin to firmly take hold.
But, we don't stay kids forever. We grow up and we face some incredibly complex modern challenges. And this brings us to one of our biggest hurdles today, the social media trap. We take our completely messy, complicated, haven't done laundry in a week reality, and we compare it directly to the carefully edited, highly filtered highlight reels of everyone else's lives. It is an absolute recipe for disaster. This constant comparison acts like a slow drip, draining our self-worth and leaving us with pervasive feelings of inadequacy, envy, and deep dissatisfaction. Positive psychology tells us we simply have to stop measuring our behind the scenes against someone else's opening night.
Let's move on and see how this builds, because this really plays out in our daily performance. Self-esteem absolutely dictates our outcomes. Our internal beliefs drive our external behavior. Consider two students who both just failed a totally brutal midterm exam. The persistent student, the one with healthy self-esteem, believes they're capable of improvement. So what do? They go to office hours, they put in greater effort, and they recover from the setback. The defeated student, who's battling low self-esteem, takes that F as a permanent label of their identity. They doubt their abilities, skip the next class, stop trying, and ultimately, they fulfill their own negative prophecy.
And wow, does this dynamic completely transform our personal lives too. In our everyday relationships, healthy self-esteem is kind of the secret ingredient to genuine connection. When you genuinely value yourself, you naturally communicate openly, you set healthy boundaries, you respect yourself enough to just say no to things that drain you. But low self-esteem, it often traps people in really unhealthy dependencies. Because they have such a deep fear of rejection and this excessive need for approval, they struggle to express their own needs, often settling for way less than they deserve, just to avoid being abandoned. Now that we've seen how deeply this impacts literally every facet of our lives, it is time for some rapid-fire myth-busting, because there is so much misinformation out there that is just holding people back. Let's tackle myth number 1. High self-esteem means arrogance. So many incredibly wonderful people shrink themselves down because they are absolutely terrified of coming across as arrogant, conceited, or self-centered. But here is the profound truth. That myth is completely false. Healthy self-esteem actually includes profound humility and deep self-awareness. You see, arrogance is usually just a mask for deep insecurity. It's overcompensating for a lack of genuine self-worth. True, quiet confidence always leaves plenty of room for humility, because you don't need to push others down to feel tall. You're comfortable enough in your own skin to genuinely celebrate the successes of everyone around you. Let's move to the second limiting belief that just traps so many people. Myth number 2, self-esteem never changes. You might actually hear that inner voice saying, well, I had a really tough childhood, or I've just always been insecure, that's just who I am, I'm hardwired this way, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. Actually, scratch that, because the incredibly empowering, scientifically backed truth is that self-esteem develops and changes throughout your entire life. It is not a fixed, innate trait that you're just locked into at birth. It's a dynamic skill. It's like a muscle, right? It can atrophy if you neglect it, but it can absolutely be built, strengthened, and developed over time with the right practices and mindset shifts. You are not stuck. You literally just need to hit the mental gym. And finally, our third myth, which frequently confuses high-achieving employees and top-tier students: success automatically creates self-esteem. We constantly lie to ourselves saying, once I get that massive promotion, or once I make a certain amount of money, or once I find the perfect partner, then I'll finally feel good about myself. So the crucial point is this: external validation cannot fix an internal wound. The undeniable truth is that many incredibly successful individuals still struggle deeply with self-worth. They suffer from major imposter syndrome, feeling like absolute frauds despite having a wall completely full of awards. Internal self-acceptance matters far more than external accomplishments. You literally cannot achieve your way into loving yourself. So how do we actually build it? Well, here is your actionable blueprint. First, you have to practice self-acceptance. Acknowledge your flaws, but without that heavy, crushing judgment. Next, you've got to challenge that negative self-talk. When your inner critic tells you that you're a failure, hit pause and demand hard evidence. Talk to yourself like you would a good friend. Third, set realistic, achievable goals to steadily build up your sense of competence. And finally, celebrate your progress. Focus on your growth and your unique strengths, rather than defining your entire existence by your momentary mistakes. Ultimately, everything we've explored today brings us to this incredibly powerful realization. Healthy self-esteem is not believing you are better than others. It is believing that you are worthy, capable of growth, and deserving of respect. It's recognizing that you're a complex, imperfect human being and knowing with absolute certainty that your imperfections do not disqualify you from happiness. Thank you for watching Beautiful Mind. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us continue bringing these psychological deep dives to you every single week so we can all keep growing together. But before you go, I want to leave you with a little something to chew on. We've talked a lot today about valuing your self-worth. But what about the specific belief in your power to achieve your goals? Can simply believing in your abilities change your future? In our next explainer, we explore self-efficacy, why belief creates success. You definitely won't want to miss it. Until then, take care of yourself and keep nurturing that beautiful mind.